Hey everyone! So today we are teaching you braiding. I'm so excited about this. Apparently, my mother-in-law sent me a video the other day, and she said she had this video, and she said, "Is this video possible?" And so I made a video while I was in the meeting the other day, and flipped the hair over, and I recorded it for her, and then we put it out yesterday, and apparently there's a lot of people that wanted to learn that braid because it has gotten a lot of comments and stuff, so it was fun. We'll be talking about that as we go through. We're going to teach you braiding 101 today and how to elevate that braid quickly. So different ways to braid and different styles you can achieve. So we'll get started really soon. Let's see what else. So we're also going to have the giveaways for comments, so make sure you comment below so that we can get you your gifts, okay? So we are giving away an iron at the end, so we'll use that partially throughout today. Mostly we're going to do braiding, but I will put a couple of curls in just to touch up a look. I have my daughter Araya here today, so she's going to come over. Do you have a winner already? Do you have a winner in mind? We'll get one. You have one? She's coming. So they have a half day at school today, so Araya's joining us. You might recognize her if you've seen any of our ads with a little girl curling. So that's her. She has been able to curl since she was 6. So I might even have her show you guys how to curl because she's pretty good at it. It's pretty funny, and she teaches her friends how to use it and stuff. So she doesn't use it on a daily basis for those of you who want her to still be a child, I promise. She's still a ponytail girl most of the time, which much to my dismay, but I don't give her too much guff on it. Okay, Ryan, we're going to come over real quick. Do you have a winner in mind?
Yeah, she said
okay.
Is it Zena?
Do you have one?
Martinson?
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Araya. Say hi.
Hi.
So who's the winner?
Zena Martinson.
Okay, so what is she winning?
A zip time.
Zip time set. Okay, so throughout the thing we're going to be showing these. Whoops, I just dropped my nail polish one. Okay, so we have these zip time bags, and that's what we're giving away. We'll be giving away 5 of those live. So Zena is our first winner, and then we'll keep giving away more for comments. Okay, you can hop back over there, and I'll call you back over in a second. Thanks. So Zena, congratulations. We will also have the iron at the end, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. We're also going to teach a little bit about eyeliner tips that I learned from my favorite makeup artist I've ever worked with or has done my makeup, and her name is Jessie, and Jessie taught me the best way to create a winged out eyeliner, which I think will be really helpful for people that are getting Halloween ready this what is it, Saturday? Or well, I guess for parties. It depends on if you're doing the weekend or week kind of party. So anyway, we will get to that in a little bit. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is teach you braiding 101, okay? So I'm going to grab a piece of hair. I might do this side because I obviously didn't do as well on my curl today on this side. So the first thing you want to know is how to section, okay? So this is what I do. This is my little cheat to create 3 sections. And when you do that, you can feel all the way down to the bottom. What that benefits is when you're doing a braid that your sections are even at the bottom. That way you don't end like with a funky place, right? Like if I had like no hair here on one of them, then I would know by doing that little gliding trick, okay? So to braid, okay, braiding 101, everybody. So the first thing you do is cross from, so you have your 3 sections, you cross from the side over to the middle and grab. And then over from the other side into the middle and grab. Okay, so you just constantly keep doing that over the thing. Oh, sorry, I got distracted over here. Okay, so from the side over to the middle. So the further away from where you're braiding you hold, the looser and longer these sections will be. And the tighter you hold there, so if I move my grip up and pinch right there, the tighter my braid will be, okay? So that's how you can braid a lot tighter. Let me get closer so you can see the difference. Longer sections and then closer sections, okay? So that's braiding 101. If I want to turn this into a French braid, look, then you just start adding. So I'm crossing over to the middle right now, and then I'm just adding a piece in, okay? And so the difference between a regular braid and a French braid is just adding in a piece of hair to the center. So cross and add to it, and then cross and add to it. And I'll teach you more about doing that as you work down the head so that you can learn more about that. Okay, so that's how you turn a regular braid into a tighter braid into a French braid. Okay, so that's how you do that. And then I'm going to go into fishtailing. So most people, I don't think, realize that you can just transition into another braid during the braid. So what I did now, I'm going to move into a fishtail. So I had this section crossed over and I just merged these two sections. So a fishtail braid consists of two pieces. So you take two pieces, pull from the outer edge and cross over to the other side, okay? So now I'm merging into a fishtail. So each time you just take a little section, cross over, and put it to the other side. The one thing you want to note about a fishtail is that if you take this section over, you want to make sure that you don't use this recently crossed section in your next section going over. That's the one thing you really need to avoid in a fishtail to make sure that it doesn't mess up, okay? So the next thing what I want you to know about fishtailing is the smaller this little section is that you take, the better, the more detailed your braid will look. And if you take bigger sections, it will look just looser and not as detailed. So I think the impressive thing about a fishtail is usually smaller sections. So just watch how you take smaller sections in that, okay? So now we've changed it into a fishtail, and I'm just gonna cruise through that real quick so you can see how it looks different from a regular braid, okay? All right, so now we've got braid, French braid, fishtail. So all you have to do is change, just make sure you don't lose your grip into a braid, and you can recover a lot of things as you're braiding. Another huge trend right now is about pulling these apart, so really pulling a braid apart. The main thing you don't want to do is tie off the end before you pull apart, because it's really a lot harder to do once you've tied it off with a rubber band. Another thing you don't want to do is fan all the pieces evenly. You really want to pull little sections at a time. Do we have a question? I should ask a question.
Yeah,
okay.
and that's a good timing. So when you're doing something like that, when you're pulling out,
yeah.
What's a trick for your hair not to stick out of the braids, for it not to fall out?
Okay, so most of the time, the reason you have things coming out is it has to do with your layers and where they're ending. So one thing you can do is be cognizant of what's about to come out, and then you can twist it. So if you had something about to end right here and I didn't want it to flare out, what I would do is kind of twist it in, and I would make sure that a piece really twists with it so something can cover it and kind of hold it in there. Another thing you can do is when you have soft ends like this, for me, it won't stick out as harsh if you have bend in your hair like this. So maybe you've braided your hair, or I'm sorry, curled your hair a couple of days before, so they won't be as stiff and I don't know if you guys remember Phoebe, was it Phoebe from Friends? Was that right? Yeah, and she always had those pokey out things. Her hair was stick straight all the time. So that's, one of those aspects that would stick out. We also have to ask a question. Okay, does anyone know the term? Oh yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so does anyone know the term we use for rotating your iron like this? Okay, so comment below so you can win some zip times, please. We will have 2 winners coming for this, so make sure you put your comment. Okay, so you can also loosen a regular braid too. So what I meant before is don't pull even like this. Do you see how that's not really as impressive as if I pull little sections here and little segments? And you can really leave that center piece in because it keeps the integrity of your braid. And if you fan that out more, see the difference between pulling all even like this and pulling a segmented part out. See, like that. Okay. So that's how you can really give a braid more dimension and depth, make it have more fullness. So if you have fine hair, I just thought of this is a really great trick for these kind of braids. There's lots of morphing powders out there. There's a couple different ones that we'll have to list because I can't remember all the names, but because I don't have to use it very often, but I used to use the Kevin Murphy Powder Puff, and that's one of the things that you can really help thicken a braid. So if you have really slick hair, it can help you to pull it apart and separate it more. So you can sprinkle powder in here, and we actually have a video that does that. I think it's a fishtail video I taught a while ago. So that one can really help you separate out your braid. Okay, so I'm gonna undo this braid. Okay, and then we're going to bring Araya in. So Araya has hair from being at school all day. so I think it should be pretty good though. Is it pretty, did you keep it not too messy at recess so we can do it?
I didn't really have recess, but okay.
You didn't have recess?
I mean, PE though.
PE, okay. All right, so she's gonna sit on this chair. Let me make sure, oh wow, you're a lot lower than me. Okay, let me move this a little bit here. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to, that's a good smile. Okay, so can I have you turn around and sit like on the chair? That way, okay, perfect. Okay, so on Araya, I am going to teach you about French braiding and also how to, what do I call it? Directional braid, okay? So how you move the braid on her hair, okay? So I'll teach you that in 1 second. Let me just get a brush over here, my trusty brush, okay? So we're gonna brush this out. And then I also have a couple of cool tricks coming up where if you are not a braider, and you can do a ponytail, I'll teach you a cool braid looking thing that has ponytails in it. Okay, so let's do directional braiding. So a lot of people want to do that like face frame braid right here. So I'll teach you how to do that, but I'm going to teach you back here, okay? So if we want to start, okay, so let me make sure my arms aren't in the way for your view. Okay, so we've got 3 sections here. And I'm going to teach you most of the braids right now. So what I taught you earlier was the braid that is just a regular French braid where you cross over the top. What I'm going to teach you now is a Dutch or an invisible or an inside out braid. And what that does is it pops out. Okay, so let me show you how that works. Okay, so we're going to cross under now instead of over. Okay, so I cross from the outside underneath the middle, and then I cross from the outside underneath the middle, okay? And people ask how many you should do before you start braiding, and basically it's 1 cross from each side, and then you can start adding into it, okay? So now if I wanted to change my direction and not be going straight down the head, what I would do is adjust where my hands and wrists are holding. So if I'm braiding this way, my wrists are like directionally down most of the time. And what I want to do is if I want to change my direction, I change how I'm holding them, right? So the center of between my hands is pointing the direction of where you want your braid to go. So I want my braid to come over to the side so I can start pulling to the side, okay? So now my braid will follow because of where the center of my hands are pointing. So point off to the side, and that's where you'll go. And then if I want to recover and go down to the middle, because I lost my direction, I just kind of loosen it and straighten it back out, and I'm back to center again. Okay, so some of the hints for braiding close to the head or braiding really well on the head is making sure that you hold your hand touching the scalp, okay? So I wanna make sure that I'm holding tight on the braid here so I can have complete control of how these pieces cross and how they look. And then I add in, and all the while I'm staying close to the head. I'm not holding up out away from the head, I'm holding down close to the head, okay? So we add in all the pieces, and then we're getting close to the bottom. At the bottom, I'm going to show you how to transition into a really, one of my favorite looks is transitioning this into a fishtail again, kind of like I did on the front of mine. So let me pull this over. Araya, can you scoot forward a little bit so we can see the bottom of your hair better? Thank you. My trusty little helper, everybody. Okay, so do we have another winner we could announce?
We got a couple questions.
Oh yeah, here I have it. Okay, so the winners of the zip time are Ashley Comer and Alexis Soper. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name right, S-O-P-E-R. So congratulations, Ashley and Alexis. It's an A day, Araya, Ashley, and Alexis. Okay, so now that we're to the bottom here, I hope I'm not blocking you with my arm. Okay. So when I want to transition here into a fishtail, a cool trick I kind of made up is to section out a little piece, wrap it around, and then, so how I taught you before, just merge the pieces. So I just merge it down underneath the bottom. So I went around and it came over and then it crossed into this side. Okay, so now I've got two pieces. So I merged two pieces and then my wraparound that came from this side went down and through into this side. And then you just start fishtailing. So fishtailing again is those little sections out of each side crossing over. Oh, whoops, I forgot I was crossing back under. So take it and cross under and then cross it over to the other side. So the beauty of how braids are looking right now is that if you make a mistake, you don't have to worry about it, you just keep moving on. And it's almost cool if you have a flaw in it, because it's just a really cool trend that has been around. So people are putting in those wraparounds on purpose just to make their braid look more messy. So don't worry if you have that. Just like I say, don't overanalyze the curl, don't overanalyze every little piece you put across the braid. Every little cross you make in the braid. Did you say you have a question?
There was, it wasn't braid related.
It was related to curls. How do you keep your frizz from happening when you're curling your hair?
Okay, I will teach that in a little bit. I'm gonna separate this. Will you remind me that when I'll put some curls on Araya in a little bit and I'll teach people about that. Okay, so here again, so we've transitioned from a regular or inside out Dutch braid, depending on what you wanna call it. There's all kinds of names for them. And then into a fishtail, okay? So I think this is really cool, but I love to do the pulling out and really separating out those pieces, because I think that is just looking really great on everybody right now. So we're just pulling out these little segments.
So we have a braid related question.
Okay.
Which braid looks/holds better for shorter, thinner hair?
Shorter, thinner hair. Fishtails tend to slide out more often. They're easier to slide out, but really if you have a good braid, it shouldn't slip out at all. But if you put that powder in, that will help a lot, that I was talking about earlier, and we can provide links for that if we want. So, Araya, can you go ahead and tip your head down so we can see? Oh, that's too much. Okay, there we go. So anyway, this is kind of just transitioning. We like all these fun, messy braids that we're doing now, so that's a great way to do it. And you can change all your direction like I taught you just by moving your wrist from side to side and then adding the pieces in accordingly. Okay, so that is inside out or Dutch braiding. And then I want to show you for the non-braid kind of people. All right, could you do me a favor and hop up real quick, and then I'm going to have you brush that out. And I'll teach something about curling real quick, okay? So let me turn my iron on here. Oh, actually, while she's doing that, what I'm gonna do is teach you a cool look up at the top. So one of my favorite things to do is have this kind of pulled back and up. That's actually how I was wearing my hair when I met my husband. But I didn't have the braid in it that I'm gonna teach you, but he used to comment on that. He hasn't commented on that in a while, but he did in the beginning. Okay, so what we can do, instead of like really braiding up here and getting like a bump, which doesn't look great on me, this is a really cool trick, is that you can just take this and cross it over, take it and cross it over. And we're not really even holding it, we're just taking it and crossing over. And you'll see that I'm not doing much back here to keep it separate. I'm not separating it out because we're just gonna pin it anyway. So a lot of people are doing this and then putting a bun or buns up at the top here, which is a cute look. So that's a possibility if you're interested. I will teach buns on another day, maybe buns and updos together. So we'll work on that another day. Okay, so now I've just got like a kind of fishtail here. And then I'm gonna go in, so, oh, I can move this up. Oh, there we go. Oh, I was wondering why I was leaning down so much. I felt like I was getting hunchback. Okay, so what you do, this goes to the bobby pin trick that I taught the other day. Don't open it and just slide it in. And then don't open it, slide it in and cross it over the other one. If I can find it. Okay. And so if you get the middle of a fishtail braid, okay, so I got a little uneven in my looking down at the camera there, sorry. So when you just cross it over the middle in a fishtail, that will hold it. So if you can just pin those two pieces, that little X there, it'll just hold it. And it's nice because it doesn't give you that like a ponytailed look if you're not doing a bun or something. So let me see, hopefully it looks okay. How does it look, everybody? Okay?
Looks good. And Jacynda, we need to ask that next question for the zip tie.
Okay, so the next question is, what is your favorite type of braid and do you like them loose or tight? Okay, so I'm asking you guys, what is your favorite type of braid and do you like them loose or tight right now? So let me know what you guys are thinking, if you guys are liking that still loosened up braid or if we're all getting into that, like, you know, the rows, like the cornrows, or what do they call it when they have it like two braids going down the side. You could maybe incorporate that in if you know the name of that. I can't think of it right now. Right now I just know all the Kardashians are doing it, and so a lot of other people are. I see it all over Instagram. So that's a great option too. So are we liking the loose or tight braids, everybody, right now? Let's see. So, okay. One thing I wanted to say about when you have a hairdo like this, and I noticed that, you know, my right side is curled better than my left, which tends to be my tendency. I think it's because I'm lazy and don't like my hands over my head at all. So we're just gonna go in and touch up like one or two pieces that'll make this, you know, look better. Do you have the brush, Araya? Can I have the brush, please? She's already checking Instagram. She can't stay off of her phone. Kids these days. Who's raising them anyway?
You.
Yeah, me. I am raising her. I don't know why she's on social media. I can't understand. Just kidding, because we live on social media because that's our company. Okay, so I had curls down there already, so I just wanted to add in just a little bit so that it can just touch it up, touch up the curl on this side to match the other side better and just kind of elevate how it looks as a whole, because really flat right here and then curly here isn't really conducive to your center being, you know, pulled back like that. I like it better with fullness right here. So when you want fullness right here, you just slow down a little bit and then you can speed up. Because it just takes a little longer to heat the hair up here because it's thicker, more dense, and not used to being curled as much. So, okay. Now I want to add one here, I think. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So how are we with that? You can also, you know, tease under here. So I don't know if everybody saw our teasing video back a couple weeks, but you just go in and you can tease in a little bit of volume so that if you wanted a bigger look. So you can kind of choose what look you're going for, and still this is a little off center, but we're gonna just live with it, right? Is everybody okay with that? Can you guys all live with it? Okay, so I've got Araya coming back over now. She's got her hair brushed out for me, and then I'm going to teach you how to do the ponytail braid look, and then after that I will do, I'll show you the quick eyeliner trick, and then we'll do the braided beard because I have some tips that I learned trying that yesterday so that I can show you guys exactly what to do with the braided beard if you're going to try it, okay? So Araya, come on over here. And I don't know if braided beard is the right term for that. I just kind of made that up, so. But it looks like a beard to me. Okay, I'm gonna have to have you turn around again, sorry. Thank you. You could probably sit Indian style, would that help? Is that still what we're calling it? Or crisscross applesauce, I think is what they call it in your school, right, Arai? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So, for this look, you start with 2 sections, or you start with 1 big section actually. And maybe you could even start smaller than this. I'm gonna start smaller because I think it'll look better. So take 1 section, you wrap the ponytail 2 times, okay? And then you make a hole in the center, you flip down through, and then that creates your separation, okay? And your twist. What you want to do is then just pull out, like we've been pulling out the braids today. You can pull up and tighten on that. Do you have another ponytail holder, my assistant? Thank you. And here, I'm not going to do the whole braid. You can do this as like a whole braid. You can include all the hair in, but I won't do that because this one takes a little longer. And I would like to show you how to touch up curls that would look really good with this. And I'm gonna let you see Araya do a curl. Okay. And Araya does not curl her hair every day, so nobody panic about her being a kid still. She still gets to be a kid, I promise. She plays basketball and plays piano. What else do you do, Araya? She does all kinds of fun stuff. Soccer. Oh yeah, she plays soccer. She's a really good defender, like great one actually. She's also great at defending in basketball, so if anyone's looking for a travel 10-year-old, just kidding. She can't travel, it's too far. Okay, so we're gonna flip through again, and then you just loosen. You can tighten this first or after, depending on what you've done in it, but you can see how that really shapes into something really cool. Another thing you could do here is you could merge this into like a fishtail like we were doing before, or you can just keep going through with the ponytails and doing that. And if we need to elaborate on that more later, we can do that. I just don't want to make it too long today. So you can go in and then you could loosen this up and create a little bit of a different look. Do you have another one? Thank you. So I like this. I like having a couple of little different segments in it. You could, there's so many things you can do with this though. So just, that's why I'm teaching all the different braids that I can today so that you can experiment yourself, because we like to encourage women to be able to create good looks on their own. Okay, so tip up for me. Oh, not quite that much. She's really dramatic when I say tip up or tip down. it's funny. Okay, so that's great. So we have this look going. I'm gonna pop in a couple of curls. So this is a good thing, like if you've curled your hair the day before and you just want to add in a few more curls.
Now that you're curling, do you want to talk about how to avoid the frizz?
Yeah, I can, absolutely. Thank you for reminding me, because that's an artist brain for you. We forget things periodically. Okay, so how do you avoid frizz? So there's a couple of different things that create frizz, okay? So if you're going to the top of your hair and curling, what you can imagine is that you're curling all of the hair all the way from the scalp. You're curling all of that out and it starts flipping up, right? So that's one way to create frizz. So if you have that kind of frizz, a brush can calm that, because it might be like new growth coming in that's coming out. Okay, so that's one type of things people encounter having frizz, okay? So that's one thing you can do, is brush it after. I'm going to curl this one the opposite way. So you just have to know about that. The other thing that is most common, I would say, for creating frizz is that people squeeze too hard. So if you go in, and that's why we talk about tension all the time, squeezing too hard, okay? So you wanna make sure you grip with just your fingertips and not the whole palm and squeeze that. I cannot stress that enough. Don't squeeze it too tight. It's not necessary, and in fact, it makes your curl not as pretty. So if you loosen your tension, that will also stop the frizz. So if you're having frizz, it might be that you're just squeezing too tight. I'm gonna slide your chair over a little bit. Okay. Getting rid of the rubber bands. Thank you, my assistant. Okay, and then let me go ahead and curl couple more pieces. So make sure that if you're having any problems with tension, you almost fell?
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to scoot forward? Go ahead.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. So if you're having a problem with frizz happening, then you're probably squeezing too tight. And we do have our virtual stylist that can help you with that as well, okay? So make sure that you set up an appointment. If you're not getting the curl that you want, we offer those free with the iron purchase, and you can do them as many times as you'd like, okay? So I'm gonna do one more curl here, and then I'm gonna have Araya turn around and curl some of her front.
And you have your 2 winners up too. Jacynda.
Okay, so we have more winners of the zip time bag. So we have Tony Iverson and Tiffany Perkins. TT this time. Good job, ladies. Okay, so we had 2 A's in the beginning and 2 T's later. Very fun. Okay, so I have another question. What is your favorite scent? Vanilla, citrus, or jasmine? The reason I'm asking this is because we're coming out with some more products that I'm making a scent for. And before I go to the fragrance house, I'm curious. I know what my favorite is, but I want to hear what yours is. And if you have another one that's like amazing that I need to know about, please tell me that too. It doesn't have to be that you have to pick one of those 3 only. So please tell us what your favorite like hints in a fragrance are, or scents. I don't know even the right word for it, so you can correct me. I'm sure people will. I do go through and read comments all the time. You should have seen that. I was going through, I'll talk about that in the bearded braid, okay. So, Araya, did you already curl?
Is this part curled or no?
Yeah, that's curled. So just take this front one and just do a couple of curls here.
Because I like this.
What's that?
This is the easiest one for me.
That's the easiest one for you? Okay. So everybody, Araya curling. So she's done this and she's gonna be in our new commercial. It was so funny. She has an outtake that we're gonna put out for one day. I can't wait for you guys to see it. She had a curl like we were shooting the commercial, and always, you know, when we're shooting for videos, like our favorite thing is the front curls, and we're like, oh yeah, this one's gonna be good, so make sure you smile, do all that stuff. Yeah, she did that, and her curl, because if you tip the iron, okay, so you can even watch in her tendency, you'll see what she does. She goes through, if you keep the iron tilted to one side, you like commit the curl to one side, and what she did was she like kind of tipped up like this. So instead of committing the curl to curling off to the right and away from her face, it like bounced and like did a little pigtail swirl. And so everybody was like just busting out laughing. We'd been curling hair all day with all kinds of different girls, and it was so funny, and she was just dying laughing. So one day we're gonna post that about how to sign up for a style time session, so watch for that and let us know what you think about it. We were literally laughing so hard. I really think we should almost leave the sound in on that because her laugh is so funny. Go ahead, you can curl while I'm talking. Did you laugh during that, Araya? Did you think it was funny? See how she tips? That changes the angle of her curl. See, when she tipped, it curled forward. So that's just kind of one of her tendencies. Araya, can you keep your cord down and show them how it changes it? Okay, good. So this time it will curl away from her face into this. So let me show you the difference there. Let's see, where is that one? Here, this one curled towards her face. Wait, is that it?
No, it's this one.
I can't find, oh, this one. Okay, so this one curled towards her face, and this one curled away from her face. And the whole difference was just a little tip like this, okay? So if you are getting, not getting, don't do that, because then they can't see your pretty curls that you just did. Okay, so thank you for your help, Putty. Everybody applause for Ryan. Okay, all right. So, oh, she's upset. She's gonna take my iron now and curl. Here, you might as well show them on the left. Come over here. Are you gonna show them? So she kind of has a tendency to curl towards her face, because I think she's lazier than me, maybe even. She likes to keep her arms down even more than me, so. Okay, that's a pretty impressive curl you did, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. Okay, so, all right.
Why do you twist the curl after?
Why do we twist the curl after? Okay, so for me, I like to shape my curl exactly how I want it, and I know that if I hold the shape of the curl, I can get it to be higher up. So if I just let the curl pop in, I might just keep the curl down here, and there's more curl in here if I just shape it in. So that's why we like to shape curl in. You can cough, it's okay. Okay, so we have So that's why we shape the curls, because where hair cools is where it stays, okay? That's why this iron, it starts cooling right away, and that's why your curls can last for days. Okay, on to the bearded braid, everybody. Okay, this thing was so funny. So my mother-in-law, I told you, she just asked me if it could really happen, and I was like, sure, it can happen. Why wouldn't it be able to? So I'm sitting in a meeting yesterday as we're discussing some stuff on Google Hangouts on my computer, and I must have looked like a goofball trying to record this video for her so that she could see that the braid existed. And then I showed the girls in the warehouse, and right away everybody was like, oh my gosh, and they were trying it and walking around. And I was like, geez, everybody must like this braid, so I'm gonna do it for you again. I'm going to teach you the pointers. And sorry I couldn't smile in that. It's a little bit hard to smile when you're braiding a beard, apparently. Okay, so you start with the fishtail, like the two pieces just crossing over, okay? And then whichever one is underneath, so this side is underneath, so I want to start from the other side, okay? So I want to start from this side. Now, things that I've learned about this bearded braid, okay? So when you add in, you want to really add in order from front to back. That's very key, okay? So make sure that as you, and I also like to grab a little piece like that and then add to it like I taught you on the French braid, okay? So make sure that you're adding in and then taking from the front, because if you take from far in the back, then you'll have an epic fail. And I was laughing so hard reading through the comments last night, like girls talking about that they had tried it at a party and it was like an epic fail, and I could see why, because I had 2 fails and I was like, this is not right. The other thing is making sure that you do the underneath braid, so the inside out braid. So you want to braid down under so that the top can be pretty. Otherwise it turns out like a weird tail looking thing, and it's not very pretty. It's almost like a dragon's tail, but not the pretty version of it. Like it turns out like this, okay? So make sure you're braiding back underneath and just taking small segments. So the key thing to this is to try and get all of the hair to end at the bottom. So don't take too big of sections and run out of hair, because then you have like a weird tail again. So your goal is to make the hair last to the very bottom, because I think that looked the prettiest. I tried it a few different times in a few different ways, and I found that if it went to the very bottom, it looked the best for me. Okay, this is kind of a funny look. I mean, really. Our guy that posts, Mark, he was like, Jacynda, you're really not smiling in it. I'm like, I tried like 4 videos with me smiling in it. It didn't look good either. So I just don't think you can look good with the bearded braid. And, you know, so I was reading through the comments last night, and, you know, I just love everybody's feedback because it teaches me what I can teach you guys. And it was so hard for me. Girls were criticizing my teeth. So for those of you that are criticizing my teeth, I just wanted to let you know I do have braces. I'm working on it. I am not perfect by any means. So I'm sorry that my teeth offended you. They said they were very jacked up. Okay, so... You know, I didn't know what else to do. I don't know how. I was supposed to smile for some people, but not others. Huh? I can't have a.
Explain you have the Invisalign.
Yes, I do have the Invisalign. That's why you can't see them right now. But I have buttons on my teeth, and so I'm working on it. See, I have my braces right here, girls. Working on it for you. Trying to get it better. Okay. So as I'm sitting here with the bearded braid. Yes.
I want to know how long it took to come up with the iron.
How long it took to? Oh,
like
I
you
like.
started thinking about it.
What's that?
Should I grab the...
Yeah, do. I hope you guys have time today because I have a minute. Okay, so how long did it take me to come up with the iron? Wow, I would say, I don't know. I was drawing it for like a year, I think. I like drawing and kind of trying, but like, oh, I don't know. I'd have to really look into that because although I named the company TYME, or we named the company TYME, I am not really proficient at time. I even forget my age all the time. My daughter has to remind me. So. Okay, so yeah, let me see that 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip this rubber band in. Let me get it. You can put it over. You can come over. Okay. Thank you.
Another question, could you tell us how you got the idea of TYME?
The name or the
I'm thinking
iron?
they're talking the iron itself.
Okay, so real quickly, I'm going to show you. If you kind of separate it out before you come up over it, then you don't rub off your makeup if you have makeup on. Did I leave a piece back here? I might have. So, and then you just flip it into place, okay? So, that. So apparently you have to make sure you have it all parted forward too. Okay, so we'll just ignore my not perfect reveal. Okay, so you just pull on this a little bit, and then you can see how that braid turns out. Did it turn out okay? I can't see.
It looks nice.
Okay, minus my little tail. So just make sure you separate it out really well before you do, okay? Let me see if you can see it. I could probably just ponytail that in as a little cheat so you wouldn't have to redo it. So that's an option for you. Okay, so bearded braid, fun stuff. Thank you for sending that to me, Grandma Lori. That was fun. So, and sorry to the girls who thought I was claiming stake on it. I did not claim stake on it. I was just trying to teach people how to do it. Okay, so how did I come up with the iron? So I used to try and teach my clients how to, I can't even leave my hair in this braid because I have those pieces left out. So, okay, so I used to try and teach my clients how to curl with a flat iron, and they had a really hard time, and I couldn't understand why it was so hard for them, and it was very easy for me. So I would always try and teach them, and I had this like theory of how to do it and everything, and they just could not get the movement. It was just too hard for them. So I started like, so here's my prototype. It's really funny. You should see the sleeve prototype. Is it over here? Okay, so this is, I'll tell you about this in a second. So we, you know, would like chop up irons and try and make the look that I wanted so that it was easy for people so they didn't have to like rotate it so much. So we first were trying to do this like attachment piece, and then it ends up that we ended up like putting these together. And we had a bouncy ball as the pivot point one time, like instead of the hinge. It was so funny. I mean, it was quite comical. And my cousin and I were working on that for a while, and my husband helped with it, and then, you know, my brother loved it. And then, so even when we were trying to come up with the sleeve, we had to make like little prototypes, because it's funny, like I can get it in my head, and people just are like, no, it's not possible. And I'm like, it is. It's not that hard. I just want this like thing that just slides on real easy. I don't want to wrap and do more work. I want it to be fast. And so I won't even tell you what my husband ended up referring to it as, to the manufacturers, but you might be able to figure it out, but I won't say it in case there's kids watching. So can anyone guess? Yeah, okay. I won't say. Okay. So, yeah, so then it evolved into this iron, and basically what it was is that we really needed to turn it on its side, and that was a tough manufacturing thing because of, you know, the plastics on it and all of that stuff. So we should save that for another day though, so I don't get too long today. I want to make sure that I get an iron out to somebody else. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So did we give the question for the winner?
The scent was vanilla, and it's Jamie Howe.
Jamie Howe. Okay, congratulations. Your iron will be to you in the mail soon. So make sure we get your address for you. What else do we need to do? Oh, next week. So next week we're talking about game time hair, okay kids? So we want to talk about like wearing hats to games and how to make your hair look good with it at different lengths and things like that. So mine is a game time hat, okay? Our game time is here. Okay, but I do have lots of games that we go to. My son is a huge Steph Curry fan, like bonkers. Actually, my whole family, I would say, is. You're a big, pretty good. Yeah. We let the kids stay up late to watch the games because we're on the wrong coast for that. But we just love Steph Curry. I mean, he's very inspirational to the kids. And we love all the other players too. I'm just a big fan of, since my husband played hockey, I just am a big fan of sports and everything. So, yes, congratulations to all the winners today. We'll get all that stuff out to you. Thank you, everybody, for all the amazing comments. Last night I loved coming through them, and we'll see you next week for game time hair. Get your game face on. Bye.